You're not behind. It just feels that way. Because everywhere you look, someone seems ahead of you. Someone younger, someone faster, someone more successful. You scroll, you compare, and quietly you start to believe something is wrong with you. But what if nothing is wrong? What if you're not failing? You're just playing the wrong game. Most people feel behind because they measure their lives using rules they never chose. Rules designed by other people, other timelines, other definitions of success. And when you try to win a game that doesn't fit who you are, you'll always feel late, no matter how hard you work. We live in a world obsessed with speed. Early success, fast results, instant recognition. If you don't have it by a certain age, you start to panic. If you're not there yet, you feel like you missed something. But speed only matters if you're running in the right direction. Otherwise, you're just exhausting yourself. Here's the truth. Most people never stop to question. The game everyone is playing was not designed for everyone. It rewards certain personalities, certain backgrounds, certain advantages. It values visibility over depth, noise over meaning, speed over alignment. And if you don't naturally fit into that system, you assume the problem is you. So you push harder, you try to become someone else. You chase goals that don't energize you. And the more you force it, the further behind you feel. That's not failure, that's misalignment. You're not behind in life. You're ahead in the wrong direction. Most people never pause long enough to ask a simple but uncomfortable question. What game am I actually playing? They just follow what's expected. Graduate, work, climb, consume, repeat. And if they feel empty along the way, they tell themselves that's normal. But normal doesn't mean healthy, and common doesn't mean correct. Feeling behind often has nothing to do with time. It has everything to do with comparison. When you compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlights, you create a false sense of urgency. You rush decisions. You skip steps. You chase outcomes without understanding the process. And that's how people burn out doing things they never truly wanted. Everyone's game has different rules. Some people win by being loud. Others win by being consistent. Some win early. Others win slowly and quietly. Some games reward risk. Others reward patience. The mistake is assuming there's only one scoreboard. When you adopt a scoreboard that doesn't match your values, every day feels like a loss. Even when you're growing, even when you're learning, even when you're becoming stronger. You don't see progress because you're measuring the wrong thing. Let me say this clearly. Being behind socially does not mean you're behind mentally. Being behind financially does not mean you're behind emotionally. Being behind publicly does not mean you're behind privately. Some people build foundations while others build appearances. One collapses later, the other compounds. But social media doesn't show foundations, it shows finishes. So you assume you're late, but many of the people you envy are exhausted, anxious, and trapped in momentum they don't know how to escape. They can't slow down, they can't change direction, they can't admit they chose the wrong game. You still can. That's an advantage. Feeling behind often means you're standing at a crossroads. One path leads to approval, the other leads to alignment. Approval feels urgent, alignment feels uncertain, and uncertainty scares people more than dissatisfaction. So they choose urgency. They rush into careers they hate, relationships that don't fit, lifestyles they can't sustain, all to avoid the discomfort of choosing differently. But the people who truly change their lives usually don't do it early. They do it when they stop pretending, when they stop racing, when they finally admit, this isn't the game I want to win. That moment doesn't look impressive from the outside. It looks like confusion, like slowing down, like stepping away. But internally, it's clarity. Clarity is powerful. Because once you know what explainable success means to you, time stops feeling like an enemy. You stop chasing milestones that don't matter. You stop comparing timelines. You stop apologizing for your pace. You move with intention. And intention creates momentum that doesn't burn you out. Most people who feel behind aren't lazy. They're overloaded. Too many options, too many expectations, too many voices telling them what success should look like. So their energy scatters. They work hard, but without direction. And hard work without direction feels like falling behind, even when you're moving. This is why clarity matters more than motivation. Motivation gets you moving. Clarity tells you where to go. Without clarity, motivation becomes frustration. You try harder, but nothing feels right. And eventually, you think you're the problem. You're not. You're just playing a game that doesn't reward your strengths. The moment you stop asking, why am I so behind? And start asking, behind according to who? Everything shifts. You realize that many timelines are arbitrary. Many milestones are performative. Many goals are inherited, not chosen. And you don't have to win someone else's race to live a meaningful life. There is no universal clock. There is only alignment. When you find the right game, progress feels different. It's quieter, slower, but deeper. You start noticing small wins, internal growth, confidence that doesn't depend on applause. You stop rushing because you know where you're going. And paradoxically, that's when things start moving faster. Not because you're chasing, but because you're focused. So if you feel behind right now, pause. Not to quit, not to give up, but to recalibrate. Ask yourself, what game am I playing? Who defines success for me? And does winning this game actually lead to the life I want? Because being behind in the wrong game is far better than being trapped at the top of one you never wanted to play. You're not behind. You're early enough to choose differently, early enough to build intentionally, early enough to stop running and start aligning. And once you do, time stops feeling like pressure. It starts feeling like possibility.